and we'll call, and then we'll call the meeting to order at 7:05. Just want to check in with John to make sure he's ready for minutes. Are you ready to go, John, to take minutes?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you, John. All right, so let's get through a couple of formalities, and then we have some guests tonight. So Brianne and Larry, just stick with us for a few minutes and we'll get to all things parks related here. Let's do agenda item number 2, which is the approval of the board meeting minutes from March. And I think John just sent those out and said there might be some gaps. So do we need to make those changes first before we approve those?
Yeah, I think we need to look them over since we just got them 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
Or 10 minutes ago.
Okay. So
Yeah, we could table those for until next meeting if you want.
okay, that's fine. I think that's probably a good idea since we haven't had a chance to look at those, and it sounds like John needs some help filling in some gaps. So we'll do that until our next meeting, which will be in May. No, sorry,
In
June. June. Well, I guess so, in June. That leads me to another question. Are we going to have the regular monthly meeting in June and the annual meeting on the 23rd, or are we doing one in lieu of the other?
Well, the meeting would normally fall on the 7th based on our calendar for June.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's another 2 weeks beyond that for, 2 weeks in a day rather for the.
At the last meeting, did you all decide to keep the June 7th meeting?
We did not make it anything either
Okay.
way.
Okay, we can probably table that till the end of this meeting then. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's still on the calendar, but
I thought it might be helpful to
would just-
keep it to get ready for the annual meeting.
I would just like to point out that in previous years, when we had our meeting at the first Tuesday of May, we usually had a meeting about a week beforehand so that everything was in order. So we can discuss that later, but
okay,
just wanted to point it out.
Okay. All right, that moves us to officers' report. So let's do treasurer's report for April. Russell sent those out earlier today, I believe. So if people have had a chance to look at those, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve those.
So
Sorry,
move to
that
approve the
report.
April treasurer's report.
I'll second that
Okay.
with the caveat that Kara Ziegler is actually Chris Gallagher.
Right. So it's been moved and seconded. Do I hear all those in favor of approving the April 2022 treasurer's report? Please indicate by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Thanks,
Jen, are
John.
you there? We have enough.
Is Dan abstaining again?
No, Dan raised his hand.
He did.
Jen says aye. Yes.
Thanks, Jen. All right, so it's approved. Majority rules. The treasurer's report is approved for April of 2022. Let's move to the webmaster report. Gabe, is there anything noteworthy for the website other than we have PayPal option to pay for dues? Woohoo!
That is the only update, and we've had a few people do it online, which is great. And Russell has gone in and already done a transfer of funds from the first batch of them. I don't know how often he's going to do that. That's going to be his choice, but
Okay.
It's nice to see. We can get the good news is we can capture the contact information as well when somebody submits based on their PayPal information. So it's good.
Cool. Great. Thanks for doing that, Gabe. That was awesome. I was so excited to see that. Larry.
I'd just like to point out in talking with Russell, he sent out the latest membership list today as well. I don't know how many people got that. I know I got it and Jen got it for mailing our newsletter purposes, but there's a list you can print out. And also, I did receive a letter, and actually, Bob pedaled his way over to my house today, delivered this letter from the Secretary of State's office, indicating that our submission to renew our status with as a nonprofit was successfully filed. So we're good for another year,
Great.
and we have paperwork to prove it.
Nice. Great. Thank you. Wow. Look who's joining us. It's Mr. Mark Gianoble.
Twice,
Mark.
as a matter of fact, he's joined us.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark, how's your dad doing?
It looks like he's logged on with 2 devices. I think he's trying to sort something out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
All right. That moves us to current business. So let's talk about our vacant president position that we currently are left with Bob's departure. As I've stated in the past, happy to fill in to facilitate and the meetings, but do not feel comfortable to operate in full capacity as a president just because of my employment with Pierce County. So, for example, we wrote some support letters for Orange Gate and Pipeline grant proposals, but I just signed them as the Summit Waller Community Association Board, not as myself, in lieu of having Bob's signature. So if people are comfortable, we could continue that until somebody offers to volunteer to be the president for either like the interim until the end of the year, or I don't know. I think we've talked about a couple of different options. What are people's feelings about our loss of our president? Gabe.
So yeah, it was quite a surprise to see him step out. But we have our upcoming community meeting, which should be a good opportunity for us to possibly get another person or two to join the board and help fill that role as well. Maybe somebody else being able to push up to that position. Obviously, a new person from out of the blue is not going to make a presidential candidate, but at least it gives us a little bit more of a support in the group. I can't do it myself. I've got too many commitments for myself, but but I do think that'd be a good opportunity to bring that up at the community meeting.
Okay.
I would recommend that someone step forward and be the interim president for the remainder of the year. I'm not going to be the one to do that. I've already done my term and it's somebody else's turn.
Come on, Larry.
Come on, Dan.
Dan.
I'm not qualified.
You're highly qualified.
Highly. In fact, who's been a member longer,
Larry,
board member longer, Dan or Larry?
I think if I was president, you guys would get tired of me very quickly.
That's why you'd be interim president for just the remainder of the year.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. It could be like a permanent thing.
I think that, wow, we're in a tight spot here. Jen?
I knew it. I was just going to suggest we rock, paper, scissors it out between you, John, Mark, and I, except for I know John's got a new job and doesn't want to do it.
Well, I don't think
And-
I don't think there'd be any pressure to continue beyond the end of the year. I think it would be helpful if we just had someone for the interim. I won't be here the first part of June, so I'll miss that early June meeting. So even so, someone would need to volunteer to facilitate that meeting. And then you just have August, September, October, November, December, just a few more months.
Could you do August? If I said yes?
Me, are you asking me, Jen?
Yes, I'm asking you.
Well, I do absolutely do not feel comfortable advocating on behalf of the community association to the county or the county council, considering I am an employee of that entity. So I feel like it's
No,
It's a-
could
a
you
little-
run a meeting in
Oh.
August if I
Oh,
said yes?
oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's the easy part. Yes.
Okay, and since I don't have a whole lot of experience running a formal meeting, I run informal meetings at my church all the time, but I don't have experience with formal things. Would Larry help me out? Would you and Larry help me out?
Yes.
Yeah, hey, Jen, what I would be willing to do is to run the June meeting,
Mhm.
and I would offer to do the be the MC if I don't know if Angela and I could determine who would be the MC or master or mistress of ceremonies at the June 23rd meeting. I think we'll
Okay.
both get that.
Yeah, I think we could do that together.
Yeah, and then if you'll run the July meeting, Angela, I would be willing to put together the agenda for July, and then we can go from there.
Okay. I'm making some notes so I don't forget.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm trying to figure out so who's doing what now?
so Larry's going to facilitate and lead our June board meeting.
Okay,
And then Angela and Larry are going to co-host the annual meeting, and we'll figure that out as we get closer. And Angela is going to facilitate the August board meeting. Jen, however, has graciously volunteered her time as the interim president of Summit Waller Community Association.
okay.
Can't believe I'm doing this. Dan?
Should
We'll help you. We'll help you.
I think Dan Hare should be the president in 2023.
Mhm.
So think about it, Dan.
Please don't feel qualified.
You're highly qualified.
It's very informal. I mean, just a bunch of neighbors, so we can keep it informal. And I don't think I'd
All
make it.
right. Angela, you'd run the July meeting as well, board meeting?
Yeah, let me
We
just
have one?
let me double check to see if I am in town. Let's see, June.
The only month I'm
Yeah.
gone is August. I'm here the rest of the time if you need me to do these.
Okay, July and August are both available for me to facilitate the meetings, yes.
And I will be in Florida from May 10th till the 24th. So in putting together the agenda for June,
I can do it,
we'll
Larry.
talk. Oh, I could, it was in June, our meeting would be. Why is Don Massey calling me?
Oh, where
Hang
is
on.
Dawn? Anyway, yeah,
Does he need me to
Dawn's
send him a link?
missing.
I have an idea. Why don't Angela and Larry just parse this out the rest of the year, and then next year we'll have a new board president, and you can do it off screen and just let us know the results of who's leading what meeting. Because you're both willing to do it all. So I don't feel like you really need either Dan or I to step up.
Yeah, Gabe, Don needs you to send him the link.
I just sent it to him now. I realized I checked my email while like, oh, he's probably trying to get the link. He said he lost it. Yeah. Same link every month.
No, I should be okay. June 7th is quite a while after the 24th of May. So yeah, I
Okay.
shouldn't have any problem with their agenda. All right. And July is, that's the 5th of July. And of course, that's a Tuesday. So July is on a Monday. I guess we can talk about in June whether we want to have a July meeting or not.
I mean, that's the thing too. Maybe there's one summer month that we want to take a break if we don't really
Yeah.
have anything that's happening. So you might get lucky, Jen.
I think I'm getting lucky now. It sounds like you and Larry can take this. You're
No, we
parsing
need-
it all out. I don't feel needed at all.
Oh, you'll be needed. You're gonna have to learn how to write an agenda and everything.
It's not that tricky, is it?
No, not at
It's
all.
pretty much going off the last one.
Yes.
It's just people sending you stuff at the last minute.
That's fine. I'm
Yeah,
not as
okay.
nice as you. You send it at the last minute, I might say too bad, so sad.
Yeah, you might. That would be the president's prerogative for sure.
Absolutely.
You're just a nice guy, Larry. You're accommodating.
You could be bad cop and then somebody else could be good cop, I guess.
Uh,
All right.
Done.
So more to come on next year's elections. Be prepared. Get your running platforms ready for 2023. Dan.
Mark's in there too somewhere, isn't he?
Yes. Mark
Okay.
is
I've lost
lurking.
track of
He's
everything that's going on.
I'm just happy if I can make a meeting. I would not be a good president.
there.
All right, Dan.
All right, let's move on to Orange Gate Park and Pipeline Trail updates. And then after that, we'll get to Brianne and Larry. Any
Okay,
Orange Gate Park and Pipeline Trail updates?
We still have some troubling spots at the end of some dead end trails that we're still dealing with. We've had motorcycles in the park. All of them have been contacted and told not to come back with their motorcycles, come back with their mountain bikes. I volunteered 6 hours last month. And already this month I'm into it 5 hours. We've had some illegal dumping issues this last week, so that's taken a bit more time to pick up everything and gauge it so that Pierce County responds, come by and pick it up. They're also starting to chop down some of the Scotch broom underneath the power lines. I'm not sure how much they're doing, but there is some work there in the 40 acres directly south of the power station where there's a lot of Scotch broom. That's been a trouble spot as well. You can hide in there, do just about anything you want pretty easily in the forest of Scotch broom.
Now, is that being done by Pierce County Parks or the power lines? BPA,
I
TPU?
haven't had time to check for sure, but I do know that one of the trailheads, a machine went and widened out the trail on either side. But I heard them working today, and I think it's a private group that's been hired by somebody.
Brianne, can you enlighten us?
I think I don't think we have our crews in Orange Gate right now doing any vegetation maintenance. And I do know, I'm piecing things together, but I'm fairly confident our crews aren't in there. But I do know BPA has a contractor out maintaining some of their easements. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's that, because we had them in Cross Park also.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 3 easements there: Bonneville Power, Tacoma Power, and then Pierce County Parks.
In other Orange Gate and Pipeline Trail news, I recently sent in 2 letters of support. Pierce County Parks is applying for some RCO grants for the construction of the portion of Pipeline Trail that runs through from 72nd and Waller through Orange Gate, as well as design and partial construction of Orange Gate Park. So those letters of support were sent in late last week and early this week, and they were signed on behalf of the entire Summit Waller Community Association board, and just express support for the project and Pierce County's request for the funding, which is what Brianne and Larry are working on. Of course, my dog's gonna start barking now. I apologize. Never fails. Which leads us into the next agenda item that we brought Brianne and Larry this evening to talk a little bit about. Larry had a couple of questions for us as a board in terms of how we could be kind of community ambassadors of the work that's happening in the park. So maybe talk a little bit about what that looks like for us, as well as supporting the efforts that Pierce County Parks is doing. So I'll turn it over to Brianne and Larry to introduce themselves, as well as take it away.
Brianne, why don't you introduce yourself and then I'll go.
Awesome, thanks. Hello, Brianne Blackburn with Pierce County Parks. I think met and talked with most of you in various capacities, but it's been a little while. So I work with our parks team to develop and coordinate trails across Pierce County. So largely looking at the type of trail that Pipeline is planned to be, a multimodal active transportation trail, as opposed to, some of the soft surface trails you see in Orange Gate. So that's a distinction in our office. But so as Angela mentioned, we are moving forward with the pipeline design currently, and looking to construction next year for that first phase of Pipeline Trail. And with that project and a couple of our other Orange Gate and Pipeline adjacent projects, we are submitting for funding in various ways at the moment. The most timely is for state funding through the Recreation and Conservation Office to fund the construction of the first phase of the Pipeline Trail, and then development of the first phase of Orange Gate master plan, which I know you guys are familiar with. That has a couple of projects associated with it because it's a large development. And then we're also advancing the design and construction of the $50 Park, which is at the other end of the Pipeline Trail on 94th. It's a small little park that will have trailhead facilities for Pipeline as well. So we're looking at trying to develop those in tandem as we bring the trail online. So all of that is happening, and we have, with those funding requests, obviously we look for support from the community and partners to move that forward. One of the ways we're looking right now, one of the reasons we're here right now, is to talk about a fundraising campaign that Larry with ForeverGreen Trails is helping Pierce County kick off here soon to help support our grant applications, which get a lot of favorable points if we have demonstrated community support, and it also serves as a way to help inform the community and help people understand what we're doing to launch these sorts of things. So I will not try to steal too much of Larry's thunder as he describes the program, but I'm here to support Larry and answer any questions that might come up on behalf of the projects themselves or parks in general. So thanks for having us.
Quick question, if I may. First of all, what is your screen background? Where's that taken from?
This is, I was inspired by the other parks background, so I put up one of our parks background and was going to return the challenge to see if anyone could identify where it is. It is on a trail, though obviously slightly stepped off the trail.
Carbon River?
Close. It is the Foothills Trail, but it's not quite up in Carbon River. But it is the maybe it is right where the Carbon is, down by it's not the Carbon River Canyon, but it is where the Carbon comes in, I think right there next to Foothills.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Okay,
so.
and
Dad were on the Rails to Trail Coalition years ago, and I think they were on that bridge. That bridge looks rather familiar.
Yes.
In fact, when my dad was 19, working for the railroad, he pulled freight across that bridge. He did that for 40 years. That's a long story. Anyway, my second question is getting back to Pipeline Road.
Sure.
You say it's multimodal. Horses, bicycles, non-motorized walking. Is that it?
Yes. I won't get into the details on what non-motorized means now, but state law allows non-motorized to encompass some e-bikes to a certain speed, so a certain class, but it is non-motorized, so no dirt bikes, anything like that.
Last question. The pipeline road that goes into Pierce County, no overhead lights?
No.
Okay, thank you.
okay, if there aren't any other questions, then if it's okay, I'll share my screen and just kind of run us through a little presentation.
Okay.
Okay, so thanks for your patience while I get that up and running. And if you guys could please verify that you're seeing a screen that says hello.
Yep.
Verified.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so hello, indeed, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Larry Levine, and I am the Executive Director of ForeverGreen Trails. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about ForeverGreen Trails and what we do in the region. And then I'll also talk about a special partnership that I hope that the Summit Waller Community Association, do you ever say SWCA or you just say SWCA? How do you refer to yourselves?
Summit Waller.
Okay, Summit Waller. Okay, so I'm hoping that you will join ForeverGreen Trails and the Parks Department in a special partnership regarding these two projects. So quickly about us, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we're located in and serve all of Pierce County. And our mission is to support a system of trails throughout Pierce County via education, advocacy, promotion, collaboration, and stewardship. And if you will, just keep an eye on that map of our beloved county. So we envision a connected Pierce County that provides for affordable active recreation and mobility for all ages and abilities, and income levels as well. We know that this leads to a happier, healthier populace and contributes to social justice and increases property values, promotes tourism, and also strengthens local economies. And all those lines on the map represent the planned regional trail network for Pierce County. The relatively few solid green lines represent completed trails, and the red dashed lines represent undeveloped trails. And we have a long way to go, as you can see. ForeverGreen Trails is proud to partner with local governments to turn those red lines green. And no, that isn't why we're called ForeverGreen, but it's handy that it works out like that. ForeverGreen Trails does not build trails. Instead, we serve the public by promoting trail use and stewardship and by supporting the jurisdictions that do build and maintain the trails that everyone uses and loves. We do this through our events, projects, and programs. And you can go on our website to learn more about all of these. But basically, our events promote trail use and stewardship. They inform the public and provide training for agency staff and also mobilize trail advocates. Our projects help local agencies with planning and trail development in specific corridors and in connecting to Pierce County from other counties. Our programs recognize outstanding achievements in trail advocacy. They assess and improve local government trail planning, funding, development, and stewardship. And perhaps most importantly, they help address our backlog of trails, the main issue that I wanted to highlight today. So this table, I love this table. I hate it and I love it. I hate it because of our position, but I love it because it tells the story very efficiently. This is from Pierce County's long-range parks plan, and it shows how poorly Pierce County fares compared to other similar jurisdictions in terms of trail miles per capita. And remember, we're a fast growth county, so we have to build trails or we're going to backslide in these numbers. I love this because in a sense, it just describes perfectly why ForeverGreen Trails is needed to help address our region's backlog of trails. But as we know, trail development is expensive and competition for limited grant funds is pretty fierce, as you're about to see. So we need to strategize solutions, which leads us to data. Sorry if you don't like data, but it is really helpful. One of the major sources for park and trail funding is the Washington Recreation and Conservation Office, or RCO, as you heard referred to this evening. They manage several grant programs, and a bunch of them are under an umbrella called the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Program, or WWRP for short. I just say that I apologize if we get a little alphabet soupy on you, but that's what we mean by those letters. So this program is showing you the top 10 ranked projects from this past round of WWRP Trail Grant Program. Notice how closely the scores are in that second column. That's a spread of less than 10 points. That shows that competition is very fierce. On the right column, you see the grant awards these ranked projects received. And notice that number 10 project, that's our beloved pipeline. It came in number 10 out of dozen, so it ranked well, but dang it, it received no award this last grant round. So we started to think hard about how to do better in these elite level competitions for state and federal grant programs, grant dollars. And as we pondered this, Pierce County Parks actually approached us with a related and somewhat urgent need. They had to deliver on a public-private partnership as a condition of 2 RCO grants totaling $1 million for the Sprinker Recreation Center Outdoor Improvements Project. That's in the Spanaway Parkland area. Since the Parkland Community Trail will serve this facility and there's a trailhead as part of this, the outdoor improvements, my organization, ForeverGreen Trails, had good reason to be involved. So we worked with Parks and devised a 3-entity fundraising partnership: ForeverGreen Trails, the Parks Department, and community boosters from the Parkland Spanaway area who are big fans of this project and have deep connections in the community there. ForeverGreen Trails created a fund drive page on our website with a donation portal. And together, all 3 parties working together, we launched a campaign which we called #SpruceUpSprinker. And we promoted the fund drive in the community, in print and through online outreach channels and via direct outreach to business and community leaders. Within 3 months, our team reached the fund goal and leveraged $1 million in grants for this important project in a high needs area of the county. It was really exciting to see such generosity from the community and very gratifying to render such a valuable service to the citizens of Pierce County. Basking in the glow of that success, we quickly realized that applying this fundraising partnership proactively could actually improve our region's trail grant application scores in the first place. Public-private partnerships are worth a few points in RCO's grant programs. And we saw from the actual data that just a handful of points can be the difference between getting funded and not getting funded. No regional nonprofit trail group in the state has a similar program to this. This is innovative, and it's what we call our Trail Accelerator program, or TAP. So we're happy to announce that we are launching this program later this month with a combined Pipeline Trail and Orange Gate Park fundraiser as our kickoff effort. We are working on obtaining matching funds to help incentivize local giving. They provide additional incentive to spur local private giving and help community boosters deliver a compelling message in their circles of influence. Anybody can donate matching funds for this program, and they can even specify whether their tax-deductible gift can be where it can be used, whether countywide, only in a specific jurisdiction, or only for a specific trail. They get to make that call. Now, Pierce County Parks and ForeverGreen Trails can shout all day long about how great a project is to our respective audiences. But really, the community boosters are crucial because they are powerful influencers in the local community. Who do you trust more? A nonprofit you might never have heard of, or your neighbor of many years who you know cares about your community and who is deeply invested in it just like you? You've heard the saying, it's all about relationships, and that's really true. Familiarity plus trust equals influence. So we're inviting Summit Waller Community Association to be our official community booster in the Pipeline Trail Orange Gate Park TAP Fund Drive. Your local connections are powerful and are something that, frankly, neither my organization nor the Parks Department has to the degree that you do. Being a community booster is actually pretty easy. Just use your existing outreach channels and your personal relationships to spread awareness of the fund drive, the importance of the projects, and availability of matching funds to further incentivize donations. ForeverGreen Trails and Pierce County Parks will work with you on the exact messaging to ensure accurate and impactful outreach that drives folks to our donation page. We will monitor the drive's progress together and adjust promotions if needed throughout the campaign, which we expect to be just 3 months long, ending in August. It's a short-term commitment, and it really helps to land the grant dollars that make projects happen. I know your community has been waiting a long time for these projects and has been involved all along the way. Now is the time for us to pull together to make sure that these great plans finally happen. So we invite you to join us by becoming a community booster. That's really it. That's the whole ask, and that's all the stuff I needed to tell you about, except I do want to say that I hope you will look for us online at forevergreentrails.org and learn about us and like us and subscribe to our newsletter. But I am very happy to answer any questions if you have. And so I can take your questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, I think, so that I can see folks better.
Great. Thank you, Larry. Does anyone have any questions for Larry or Brianne? I see Dan, your hand's up, but you're on mute. Dan, you're on mute. I can't read your lips that far away.
Thank you. This has been my first opportunity to learn about your organization, and I just have a few questions. You're looking for the Summit Waller Community Association, I assume, to pass a resolution to be a booster. Is that correct?
I think that would be the most appropriate thing. That way, I mean, really, that's what makes it official and breathes life into it, and empowers the group to act in that capacity in this partnership. To it's basically it's like to be that bullhorn in the community through your outreach channels. So yes.
Understood. My second question, and I come from a kind of a place of ignorance. I don't know much about your organization, but you folks are grant writers?
Among other things, yes.
You do write.
And so, I'm sorry?
You write the grants that we're trying to pursue?
Actually, in this instance, Brianne Blackburn and also her colleagues of hers wrote the grants to RCO. We are a community partner. Our service area is all of Pierce County, so we're happy to partner with Metro Parks Tacoma, with the city of Tacoma, whoever, in fund drives like this.
Right.
We can and have written grants on behalf of Pierce County because since they are a jurisdictional member of my organization, we give them access to private foundations that they normally wouldn't have.
Understood. Are you a volunteer organization or are you a paid staff organization?
I'm a paid staffer and I'm the only staffer for the organization.
Where does,
The board are all volunteers.
where does your
Wow.
funding come from?
It comes from, and I'd be happy if you want to, I could send you our complete budget for 2022. A good chunk of our funding comes from the jurisdictions who are members. Our current members are Pierce County, Metro Parks Tacoma, the city of Lakewood, and the city of Puyallup. We're in conversations with the city of Edgewood about them coming online because they have recognized the importance of, frankly, this exact program, the Trail Accelerator program, as a really important tool to help them get things done, both in terms of fundraising, spreading awareness,
Sure.
and garnering community support for trail projects.
Yeah. What is your budget for 1 year?
It is roughly $60,000.
Your entire budget for your organization for 1 year is $60,000.
Yeah, we're tiny.
Tiny's good. That's all I have. Thank you. Well, who pays for that again? Who pays that $60,000?
So I could give you if you'd like, I can send an email to your board, and it'll just give you a whole breakdown. But it's roughly 50% from the jurisdictions. Probably, I'm guessing, 30% from private donations, and the remainder from grants that we write to private foundations.
Do you take a percentage of the grant?
The grants that we write to private foundations.
The grants that you receive from any source, do you folks take a percentage of that?
I think that's
So there
really
are-
project specific. I think what Larry's talking about in terms of the grants they write for ForeverGreen functions are often programmatic. So they fund the activities that they do. The grants that we're talking about, Summit Waller Community Association supporting are Pierce County grants. Going to fund the trails. So in this capacity, and I don't want to speak for Larry on all of his work, but in this capacity, Larry is here to help support the fundraising only, and he isn't tied to a specific grant for us on these projects. So he's helping us raise funds for our grant applications.
Well, I still don't get my question answered, and I come from a place of lack of knowledge. Does this process, does the grant writer take a percentage of the grant that they win? Yes or no?
It depends on in this case, he didn't write this grant for other projects, Larry. I don't know if you write grants for other organizations, but in some cases there is a fee that goes to the organization. That if Larry wrote a grant on behalf of Pierce County, there would be a fee that would go to Larry. And by Larry, I mean ForeverGreen Trails.
Is it a percentage? How does it work?
Usually that's around a 15% administrative fee, which is very standard operating procedure in the world of like parks foundations.
So on a $1 million project, you would have 150,000 coming in.
Wow, as mom says, I would love to have such problems, but I guess so.
Yeah, I'm just
That would
curious.
be, yeah.
Thank you.
The type of grants, to give you an example, the type of grants that we have written for Pierce County for one of the projects was for the Carbon River Corridor. It was to help them with a planning process, a collaborative planning process, and we wrote two grants, or we successfully wrote two grants totaling $35,000. That money largely helped fund the consultancy that Pierce County hired, I'm guessing, to help them with the creation of their plan. And then they did hire ForeverGreen Trails to do public outreach to promote a public survey that helped inform that plan. But that's not, a jurisdiction is not required to hire us in any way, shape, or form other than, if we're writing grants for them. It just made sense because of the type of work that we do in that one instance.
Understood. Thank you.
I see Larry, your hand's up. Larry Volland.
Yeah. ForeverGreen Trails is an outstanding organization. Larry, individual people can donate money to ForeverGreen Trails, correct?
Yes, they can make donations to ForeverGreen Trails, and they can do so in an unrestricted fashion or in a restricted fashion. They can say, this is for this program only, your Trails Day, Pierce County Trails Day, or for the Trail Accelerator program, or as I mentioned, it can be restricted even further, the Trail Accelerator program, but only for projects in unincorporated Pierce County, or only for the Pipeline Trail. However folks want to restrict their donations, that's their money. They get to make that decision.
Just to let the other board members know, I've contributed money to ForeverGreen Trails in the past. One of my very best friends is a past president of ForeverGreen Trails, Terry Reed. I don't know if you know Terry, Larry. I've also attended a couple of your annual events that you have once a year. And I find the organization a strong supporter of trails within Pierce County. And there needs to be a group that kind of oversees and promotes trail systems within our county. The Foothills Rails to Trails, which I'm a member of also, they're looking at specific trail system. And of course, our past president, who just resigned, Bob, he's a member of Washington Trails, which oversee an organization that oversees trail systems throughout the state of Washington. So you have these three important layers of supervising trails within the state of Washington and within Pierce County. And I think we should celebrate that. And I'm going to continue to donate money to ForeverGreen Trails.
Well, don't write your check yet, Larry. Wait till we have a pipeline fundraiser.
Oh, for sure on that.
To be clear, the pipeline fundraiser is going to happen. We are in partnership with Pierce County Parks about that. But think about it like, you wouldn't have the most stable stool or table without three legs, and it's those three legs, those three partners of ForeverGreen Trails, Pierce County Parks, and that community booster is just crucial. You guys know folks in the area, and you know what the issues are and what matters, and you have connections. And as that was, and we learned from our experience with the Sprinkler Recreation Center fund drive that the whole TAP program is modeled on. It was those personal connections that our two community boosters or community leaders from that area really did a great job talking to local businesses and folks who were likely donors. And pretty quickly we hit that goal and leveraged $1 million for the county. It was great. I think we got a winner of a program.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I'm going to be supporting this proposal that Summit Waller join as a booster in this organization. I think it's really important that you have a professional staffed organization to really acquire the funds. I come from some experience, not on this particular issue, but back in the day when my mom and dad were on the Summit or the Rails to Trail Coalition, my mom was the grant writer. She was a volunteer grant writer, 80 years old, sitting at her kitchen table, and somehow she got these grants. I don't know, but just watching that and watching how a unorganized volunteer organization did back then, I can see the need now. If you're going to compete, you have to have a professional staff. And I just wanted to kind of ferret out that it is non-volunteer, somewhat of a non-volunteer. It's more of an organized professional staff. And I think that's what you're going to need to compete against that long list of people who have got the 1 through 9 priorities on the grants above pipeline. If you didn't have that, you're not going to get the grants and pipeline would not be completed. So that's all I have to say on that.
Well,
Yeah,
Larry, go ahead and
whole-
respond, Larry.
Oh, I just in agreement that the whole grant writing landscape, I think, is indeed changing and professionalizing. And that's exactly why we developed the Trail Accelerator program. We had to mine the data and figure out, this is elite level competition. Like, if you watch the Olympics, what was the, when you're looking at the folks on the podium, how many fractions of a second were first, second, third, and then the person who got no medal at all, and then weren't on the podium. It's really that elite level competition. The swimmers are shaving their arm hair. I mean, that's what they're at. All of the parks planners from around the state, from local jurisdictions, park districts, counties, etc. These folks are smart and they've got good projects and they know how to write grants. And this is the edge. This is a strategy and a specific tactic to get those extra points. And you saw it in the data. It was fractions of a point that kept Pipeline last time from getting any funding, and it was less than 2 points from full funding. This program, we're told, can get us up to 5 points in the competition. So
the one thing we heard, a couple things we heard with our application last year, we had a lot of support. Obviously, we did score well with the project. This is one, bringing ForeverGreen Trails in to help generate that community support and kind of bolster our application that way is one thing we did. The other thing that Parks has done with the application is we've increased the percentage of sponsor match. So the county dollars, the portion of the overall project that will be funded by the county is larger than what we're asking for funding. So essentially the county brought more money to it, reduced the overall ask from RCO to also gain an edge in competition. So we're trying to find that balance and make us as competitive as possible. It's largely the same project we're bringing. We're farther along in design, so that's something we have going for us as well. But really, it's kind of an all effort to keep this moving forward. The intent for Parks is to build phase 1. We will make that happen, but we have multiple phases after that to also construct that we're trying to make sure we continue to bring money to it to keep that vision moving forward at a good clip. So yeah, happy to answer any questions, but appreciate all of Larry's observations about what this program, the TAP program, can do for our projects.
Yeah, I think that you heard our conversation earlier about stepping up for a vacant president position and how most of us still work, have families and are busy, and we're very small in terms of operating budget and our presence in the community to some degree. But I think if we could lean on you all to help us with the templates, the key messages, here are the email blasts, here are the Facebook post templates. I think, here's how to share on the website or where to go to. And I think that'd be extremely helpful for us. Then it's kind of a plug and play for us to help do that. And then many of us are also interrelated and involved with other community organizations that may not be as active, but also use Orange Gate and Pipeline Trail. So I'd like to link in like North Clover Creek Collins and Midland, the Midland Community Association as well, which may not be as active, but doesn't matter. We'll keep poking on them and see if we can't help spread the word and using their Facebook pages and whatnot as well. So go ahead, Gabe.
And also the associated granges for all the different areas that it cuts across. Because you have
Waller Road Grange, yeah.
Waller Road Grange, you have the Collins Grange, and then Fruitland. They're all really close to the Pipeline Trail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I mean about the local connections and the knowledge that you have. I certainly don't, and you know, and the personal connections.
So I heard Dan allude kind of in a soft wording to something to the degree of he would like to have a motion perhaps for Summit Waller to become a community booster. Do I hear a motion there, Dan? You're on mute again, Dan.
Better than hearing my dogs bark. Anyway, I would move that the Summit Waller Community Association become a booster with the organization ForeverGreen Trails for the purpose of sponsoring and promoting grants related to pipeline and other projects in Pierce County.
Second.
All right. Thank you, Dan, for the motion and Gabe for the second. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. So moved. All right. Well, Larry, Brianne, you let us know how we can help moving forward. Gabe
Who
is
can be
our
point of contact, you think?
well, Gabe and I pretty much do all the Facebook stuff and Gabe does all the web stuff. So probably Gabe and I, and then in terms of, yeah, just stick with Gabe and myself. Gabe, could you maybe send Larry and Brianne your email in the chat?
I think you had when you sent along the link.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
oh,
the
that's
same
right.
address. Yep.
That's
that'll be
right.
the address.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. You already gave it to
and
him.
just as a helpful forecast, part of the outreach, I know that I did for Sprinker, and it would be great, especially to have community booster face is at the county council. So Gabe, I'm sure that Angela would look to you to, I'm guessing would look to you to maybe represent the group at that rather than herself.
And we can put together kind of a plan of attack, if you will, as we get, we've submitted the grant as of this morning. So we're gonna, yeah, I know. The technology almost didn't work, but I got it there. But we're gonna pivot now to getting the fundraising campaign rolling. And with that, kind of mapping out, like you suggested, Angela, that the content and getting our ducks in a row there. And I think that'll be the point that we'll reach out with kind of, you know, here's what we're thinking timing wise, here's some content in development, and we can kind of plug in what makes the most sense and bring ideas like, you know, talking to council, and then probably picking your brains on what groups we can connect with as well.
Yeah, and we have our annual meeting, our Summit Waller annual meeting, June 23rd. Is that correct? Correct, everyone? June 23rd.
June
Yeah,
23rd.
Thursday the 23rd. So maybe, and it's going to be in person. I know. So maybe Brianne or Larry, if we could maybe put you on the agenda for that, and maybe we could give you just a few minutes to kind of do a shortened Reader's Digest version of the presentation you made and let people know that, you know, here's maybe if you had like a postcard or a handout or something, we could also help distribute that at that meeting. I don't know how many people we'll get. Some years we get 20 people, some years we get 70. We just never know. So
I think people are going to be itching to see each other in person again. But then again, who knows what will be happening by then.
yeah, so as we get closer to that, we'll reach out to you and make sure that you're on that agenda. But mark your calendars for June 23rd, 7 p.m. if you can make it, or send a delegate.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, thank you guys very much. We'll be in touch as we get our, like I said, get our ducks in a row.
Excellent. All
Well,
right.
and if anyone has any other questions, feel free to reach me. Every single page on our website has an email link at the bottom. It's just info@forevergreentrails.org if you forgot my email, which was briefly on screen there. So every page can get you in touch with me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. You're both welcome to stick around and hear more about what we do, or you guys can, cut out since it's 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night. So we appreciate you guys joining us.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Well, with the time we have, let's keep moving. We have annual newsletter next on the list, and Jen sent out the final call for edits, and it's at the printer, and we're asked to do some revisions at some point, or where are we, Jen?
I'm waiting to hear back from him, and I would really expect him to have something emailed to me probably tomorrow.
Okay.
I would think. He never said he never gave me a date it would be done, but it sounded like he was moving on it by his response. And
Okay. What's our
I will
target
send it
date
out
to get
to
those
you.
in mailboxes?
ASAP at this
Okay.
point. Yeah. Gabe and I had a little mix up. Gabe was looking at it, and he sent something to me and I misinterpreted, kind of didn't see it as clearly. And I thought I was waiting on him. He was waiting on me, and we lost a week. So when you get that link, all of you, to look at the newsletter, do it as soon as you possibly can, because especially those of you who tend to speak up about seeing things, like you, Larry, you tend to find details. Dawn, sometimes Angela, and if there's anything that needs to be fixed, this is our last chance to fix it before it goes out, and we need to get it out. So,
Okay.
The biggest thing is, the biggest two things I think are the date for the spring cleanup, which is now in 2 weeks, and that's in the newsletter. And then, of course, our community meeting date is in there too. Everything else is sort of, it's informational, but it's not time oriented.
Sensitive. Yeah.
Time
Yeah.
sensitive would be a better term. Right.
Okay.
But those two things are, so we really need them to go out.
How many copies are you going to have printed?
I sent whatever. What did that email say? It was going out to our mailing list with, was it 150 extra copies? And I asked you all if that was okay, and we said yes. So I went with that. I said, keep it the same. Whatever that email said is what I went with.
205 with 150 extra copies.
Okay.
And then we'll be
And now
doing a
that I
digital
have that
copy.
updated. All right, we can all have a digital copy, but also, since I got that email today with the 3 extra names, I will forward that to him too, because he hasn't sent them out yet, so he can update his mailing list with that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll
So
do that
what would you say?
tonight or tomorrow.
24 hours from the time you send an email to get back any sort of obvious changes. So don't delay, read it and get it, really read it to get the details.
Yeah.
Will do. Well,
I
thank
mean,
you.
We
in a-
proofed it as many times
in
as
a
we can, but
perfect
2
world.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a perfect world, we've already done this and we've all agreed to it. And Gabe's eagle eyes pick out. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at things, but Gabe is just that much better. He sees little things. And you know what, though? I'm starting to see what you're seeing now that I have the new program. I didn't have that before. And now things are lighting up. The little blue dot, if I put 2 spaces in between the period and the next letter, that never used to come up, and now it does with the new program and the new laptop. So conceivably we've got it down, and it wouldn't take much proofing, but you just never know. There might be something in there that needs changing, and it'll just be our last chance, and we just need to hurry on it.
And next year will be even easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't so bad this year, really. I got it done fairly quickly. You all got your things in fast, and I used last year's layout, and it wasn't bad to do. I mean, it wasn't overly creative or anything, but it served its purpose. So
Thank you for your work.
Yeah. Thank you both very much.
yeah.
All right. Well, who's soon to hit mailboxes. And then we'll put it on our Facebook group, and we'll put it on the website, and hopefully that'll garner a little bit more attention and attraction to some membership renewals and attendance at the meeting and attendance at the roadside litter pickup, which is next on our agenda item. John, is there everything going smoothly for Saturday, May 14th? And if not, is there anything you need help with? Or are you completely ignoring all of us because you don't want to do the roadside litter pickup anymore?
John is muted.
John is still muted, so maybe he's not at his computer.
Let's go on to the next.
All right.
No, I think that, yeah, I think that there was a mind reader there, but yeah, so. Yeah, so, okay. Yeah, I gotta make sure everything, I don't have all my ducks in a row yet, so I will make sure that happens.
All right. Let us know if there's anything you need help with, John.
Thank you, John.
Yeah,
We
since
Probably,
since I'm going to be out of town on the 13th, my truck won't be available. So if there's somebody else on the board who has a truck that they can utilize to go pick up the sacks that'll be along the roadway, along Waller Road, to bring them to John's house, that would be appreciated.
Okay.
I don't know how to raise my little, wait, how do I get my hand up there?
There it is. We see you.
yeah, I don't know how to raise the little yellow hand yet.
Mhm.
That Larry had earlier. Okay.
Under
So, oh, I see it now. All right. Thank you. Now I'm forgetting. Oh, can we put some reminders? I sent out one, I think, but could we keep maybe the reminders going on the Facebook page? Maybe some cute little icon saying litter pickup or.
You know what I think? I think what we can do is, because you just sent out you just posted it, but maybe we could make an event. We could set up an actual event, and then that way it shows up differently in people's feed.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Gabe and I
Something
will
like
figure that out. One of us will do it.
Right.
If not, both of us will end up doing it, and we'll have two of them on there. And but we'll figure it out.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
I'm good at proofing. I'm not good at actual content creation, but I can proof your content that you submit. So whatever you want to say, I'm happy to proofread it and then post it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to figure out how to create an event if within the group. I will make myself a note to do that.
And then you'll also want to connect with John, because normally he has people meet at the end of his driveway and sign in and grab materials. So that information is not in the newsletter, because I figured I said check the Facebook page just in case any little thing went awry. I didn't want to have John, and I didn't want John's stuff maybe published in the newsletter if he didn't want that. I don't know. So
just a quick message for you, Angela. When you're actually logged into the Facebook page,
Yep.
there's a tab that shows up as events, and there's a button that says create event. It's that easy. And then you put your content in.
Oh, in person or online. Yeah, I see that. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I will do that. I'll do that. I'll do that later this week. So that way people have a little over a week-ish to put on their calendars.
So it stays fresh and not stale.
Yes. I'll do that on Thursday. I'll put that on my calendar for Thursday before I head out of town. Okay. Moving on to our annual meeting, Thursday, June 23rd. I'm assuming doors open at 6:30, but we start at 7.
Correct.
No.
Board members need to be there by 6 o'clock to help set up.
Okay. Put that on my
no speeding
calendar.
this time, Larry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I
got
just
pulled
remember
over.
you got pulled
Last
over.
Yeah, Vickery, tend to go too fast on Vickery.
Yeah, there's not a cop to be seen these days, but Larry gets pulled over on Vickery the one time.
You go fast enough, they'll notice.
Yep. And then the agenda for that, has anyone worked on that yet? Because I missed last meeting. So was that decided already? Or is that something that maybe I and Larry can work on offline?
It was not discussed
Yeah.
at all.
Okay. So maybe you and I, Larry, can do that before you head out of town?
Yeah, okay. You're heading out of town this weekend, all right?
Yeah. And you're gone when?
A week from today.
Okay. Tell you what, I will draft an agenda for the annual meeting. And then I will coordinate with you, Larry, on edits.
Okay. We can kind of finish that up the end of May. We will have to invite Marty Campbell and Chelsea to the
Yes.
meeting. They already know what the date is, but maybe I can send an email out tomorrow or between now and Friday.
I don't know if you were there, Angela. He said you weren't. He said he would make the time to be there. Marty did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
I remember him saying he would be comfortable and coming in person too when we had our meeting back in March. Was it March? So.
You know, since the Pierce County Council meets on Tuesdays at 3 o'clock, and Tuesdays is really not, I think Thursdays would be a better day to have our annual membership and community meeting, because it's going to be a time when our Pierce County Council representative is more apt to be available to come to our meeting. Whereas if we have on Tuesdays, there have been times where their Pierce County Council meeting's gone on too long, it's too controversial, just can't make our meeting. So I'm glad we're having it on a Thursday.
All right, so Larry and I will work on the agenda, and Larry is going to confirm with Marty and Chelsea that they're at least invited and have a few minutes on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, streetlight requests for 2022 regarding 44th Avenue, Lidford-ish area. Any update on that from anyone?
Yeah, Bob was going to check with the Puyallup School District on bus stops along 44th. He did not do that, so I did that. And there are bus stops. There are bus stops close to either at or very close to the intersections that I had wanted to put streetlights on. Obviously 60th and 44th Avenue. Let's see, 56th and 44th Avenue. There's a bus stop right near that intersection. And then there's right at the intersection of 53rd and 44th Avenue, there's a bus stop there. So I would suggest, for safety's sake, for kids, for not only the driving public, but also for kids getting on and off buses at those locations, that we reaffirm our request for streetlights at those at those locations.
Did we already put in a request for 2022, or is this?
Yes, we did for 60th and 44th Avenue.
60th
However,
and 44th,
That would
yeah.
be the Lidford Park one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for the other 2 or 3, we did not come to a consensus that we would move forward with those.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Bob Bob was going to do research into where the bus stops were
Mhm.
north of 60th at at or near any of the intersections that I had suggested we put streetlights.
Dawn, you're muted.
Okay,
There you go.
sorry. Just out of curiosity, there's a lot of primary streets in our Summit Waller, including many on the east side of Canyon that have as much or more traffic than 44th. Well, why is there such a demand for bus stop lighting for 44th that's not being considered for every primary side street in our community?
That's a good question, Don. Over the years, the Summit Waller Community Association has requested streetlights along Vickery Avenue at various intersections. We have requested streetlights along 104th Street East, all the way across our Summit Waller area. We've requested streetlights that have been put up along Woodland Avenue. We have suggested streetlights and they have been put up along 72nd Street. The Summit Waller Community Association has requested a signal light and streetlights at 84th and Waller Road. We promoted streetlights and a
No,
signal.
hey, wait, I understand what you've done. I'm just saying, what makes your priority of doing these offerings that you're promoting? Is it demand from the public, or is it just from general observation?
Well, I think the original impetus for the 60th and 44th Avenue was from the community. I think we had a couple of people actually reached out to us either via Facebook or the website that in particular 60th and 44th was a concern for them because of the parking that happens overnight along 44th in front of Lidford. So I think that's why we were looking for something in front of Lidford Field on 44th that could hopefully address that.
That answers my question. That's all I was asking.
I think that's where that came from.
Okay.
But then it kind of morphed into, well, maybe 60th isn't the right intersection. Maybe there's some other,
All right. No, I understand.
other more appropriate spots that could kind of also make it safer for kids in their bus stops as well. So.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that no one on the board thinks that darkened, busy intersections are safe.
Okay, since I'm not being called on, I'm just going to speak up. So I'm on 44th. Yes, 60th and 44th is a dark spot where they meet, where the kids stand. And it services not just the 60th Street neighborhood that goes down behind the hill, behind the park, but also the areas around it. Absolutely, I see that as an absolute need for safety for the kids. 53rd and 56th, I don't see that as a big need. It's not a major stop for the kids, and I don't want to see a whole bunch of lights going up all over the neighborhood because one or two kids might be there, and then they grow up and they move on, then they're not there down in the future. I do understand that some kids are still there, but I do see them regularly with parents. It's just there is that additional factor of a darkened park with a darkened parking lot.
Yeah.
And 60th and 44th, which is not the same for the other two streets.
Agreed.
I agree and I understand. Thank you.
And I totally disagree. And if the community association is not going to promote those other two intersections that are dark, and then I will do that on my own.
Well, I think there's a balance between, I mean, in some years we've put quite a few requests in, and we've been fortunate that we had many of those requests filled. But I think we've also been considerate of some board members' feelings if we don't want to light up the entire rural separator. And so I can totally see both sides and would see the need for some lighting at certain intersections, but I certainly don't want to see every intersection lit up myself either. So I would support one at 60th and 44th, which I think is the initial discussion we had a few months ago. But if people still feel that way, then we should probably get that request in. And if people feel differently and they want to add more locations, then we should probably put that on the table too. So.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and on my own promote a light at 56th and 44th Avenue and 53rd and 44th Avenue.
Okay. Do other board members support that, or I guess do the majority feel that they just want to focus on the 60th and 44th intersection instead?
I would just like to say that there has to be a balance between public safety or perceived public safety and the desire of many people in this community, including myself, to have dark skies, a rural area, and not have it become an urbanized, lit up at night community. And it's not like we're getting these lights for free. They are paid for by our tax money, so it's not a freebie, and it costs to run them. And I have to thank Larry for a lot of the lights that he's put up. He's been right on. Many of them, I could list a whole bunch of them. At the bottom of, I think, one of the streets at Pioneer Way, is that a whole bunch of them he's done very well. But at some point, people in the community, the board members, they may disagree. This may be one of those times, but not to detract from Larry's success.
Well, and I, from my perspective, I feel like there's a little bit of balance between the lighted intersection request plus all of the Vickery Avenue requests that we put in for them to look at those 4 intersections. So we can't be asking for all of it, but I don't think we should not ask for any of it. So it's a balance of maybe we put in one streetlight request with, a renewed letter or a renewed request or follow up with Marty Campbell's office for what's happening on Vickery Avenue, because that's a corridor request rather than a, one spot location.
Yeah, if we do get a light at 60th and 44th, it might spur on the community to go, it would make more sense to have additional lights at these intersections down the same street. And then they'll actually speak up as well. And then we can do that on their behalf. But to jump the gun on request because it is a school bus stop now, why not make sense in 10 years when that street, all those kids are now grown up and moved away and there actually is nobody there anymore 10 years from now, but we have this beacon of light sitting there in our rural area.
Yeah.
Larry, I might suggest, Larry, coming off Gabe's comment, maybe we should advocate for the one light by the Lidford Playfield parking lot area, like we all agree is important, and then let it work, see how it works, see how the community responds to it, and then at that point go from there with a potential board request. Going off as individuals is kind of fragmentary. Free to do what you want.
I make a motion that we submit the request for the light at 44th and the Lidford bus stop.
I'll second that.
Question: Is that the one by the playfield?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one, right?
Yes, the one.
60th and 44th.
60th and 44th.
Or near there, wherever there's a pole that they can stick a light on. Yes, because the one at 60th and 44th right now looks to be a bit full with wires. There's another one that's further mid-block that again, doesn't address the bus stop issue, but addresses the initial safety concern, which is the darkened parking lot.
Yeah. I would second that.
That would be at 59th and 44th Avenue. There's a pole there that,
Yeah, roughly, yes, yep.
so you're gonna have to amend your motion to include 60th and 44th Avenue and 59th and 44th Avenue, which would provide lighting for not only the bus stop area, that corner of Lidford Field, and 59th would light up more of the parking area.
Okay, I'll withdraw my motion. They can figure out if we talk to them for the appropriate location that would serve.
My name is Sue Callison. I have lymphedema from breast cancer treatments, and I'm also the founder of Soul Day Medical. When I first developed lymphedema, I was prescribed.
I'm temporary muting you, Don. Hold on. Sorry. When you're done with that, let me know.
Audio problems on Don's behalf. I think what Don
Just
was.
a little clarification here. I've sat at the corner of 60th and 44th and analyzed the various poles that are there. I must tell you that it's going to be difficult for them to put up a street light right at the corner of 60th and 44th Avenue. The one pole that's on 60th is a little ways, probably about 25 to 30 feet west of that intersection, and has a lot of wires going through it. Also, the one at 60th Court East, which is just about 20 feet south of the intersection where there's a pole, that has a lot of wires to it as well. So they're going to have, we may find that the Tacoma Power says we can't put a street light up at exactly either one of those two poles, because it's kind of similar to the pole that they rejected on 48th and Waller Road.
Right. That's fine, but I think we can still make the request. We can ask them to figure out what's the most appropriate spot, whether it's on the corner or mid block towards 59th. I mean, I don't think we're not going to say no if they say we can't do it. We want to do it on 59th instead. I mean, I don't care. It's
how they accomplish it's not up to us. It's up to them, but it's a matter of let's light up that corner because it's not safe.
I think the amendment should request a street light for both. One would take care of the bus stop area at the corner, and the other one would light up the parking lot a little bit across, on the west side of 44th, where people park their cars. Because there's complaints about that as well, aren't there?
There is new signage at the park now that says overnight it's closed from dusk till dawn for parking. It says no parking now. I know there's a residence that 2 cars are always parked there. That's up to those people to get ticketed at some point in the future. But as far as it goes for our responsibility and our efforts, trying to get that corner lit up as best as possible is what we're focused on for the bus stop, not lighting up the entire parking lot. Because the whole thing's not used as a bus stop. We need to focus on the 60th and 44th, which happens to be Lidford Park parking lot. But if they can figure out how to put a light focus towards the bus stop area, that's what I'd be focused on. Beyond that, it's really up to them how they accomplish that. But that's what we're trying to request.
Yeah, I agree.
I would defer to Gabe.
I've the last track of the motion completely. So
it was withdrawn.
It was made and then withdrawn, and now we're discussing what the next motion should be.
I would like to renew Don's motion, please.
I don't know. There's different streets and different. I have no clue.
Go ahead, Don. Do you remember what you initially said?
We've already submitted a request for 60th and 44th Avenue, and Chelsea and Marty acknowledged that last meeting.
Okay.
So why do why do we even need a motion? We just need to remind them that we
Okay.
are sticking with our proposal.
That's a good point. We already did send them the request for our 60th and 44th.
So
Yeah,
we
at the
just
last
wasted a
meeting,
bunch of time.
Yeah, Angela wasn't there, so she didn't know. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I
Chelsea
wasn't.
said that we got it. And I said, well, do I need to send you an email to that effect? And she said, no, we got it.
Okay, good. Thank you, Larry. Yeah.
Okay. So there's no action that's needed for a streetlight request on 60th and 44th, since that's already occurred. I think we should table the other intersections for the next round of requests, based on how this one goes. That's my recommendation, but that's just my
Just to
opinion.
clarify, I do have somebody that I talked to who lives off of 53rd. 53rd goes all the way out to the rim. There's a lot of houses there along 53rd, and there's a lot of houses out on the rim, and they utilize 53rd to come to 44th to go in and out of the community. And I have one person that I've talked to who is kind of excited about the possibility of a street light at 53rd and 44th Avenue. And every time I go down 44th Avenue, there are cars coming out of 53rd. It's a pretty busy intersection, and there is a shelter there for kids to get on and off, to wait to get on the school bus. So that was one of my reasons for suggesting a light there. And my other reason for suggesting a light at 56th and 44th Avenue was that if you go down 56, it eastbound down the hill, and you take a right, it goes all the way up and angles around and comes out on 50th at 72nd, where there is a street light. So that there's a lot of houses down in that area that access both 72nd and 44th to get in and out of the community. That's why I was suggesting 56th and 44th Avenue. That was my reasoning.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, definitely understand that for sure, Larry. The other topic, though, I mean, just the devil's advocate here, 64th Street, which is not as busy of an intersection, currently has about 7 or 8 kids that stand there in the morning for the bus stop. I'm sure there's a light post there too, but I don't see anybody rallying. Just because someone's loud about it doesn't necessarily mean it's a urgent matter for everybody.
Yeah, I checked, and that is a bus stop as well at 64th and 44th Avenue, but there's not a major intersection there. I mean, not even a really what you consider a busy intersection there.
Right, 56 would be the one that's the more busy because of what you said. But isn't 56 also a bus route as well? There's bus stops all the way down that because it's a through area.
Right.
Because then it goes down 48th. Yeah, takes a turn. Yeah, well, I'm gonna, I don't know if it's not really a motion. I guess it's a recommendation for us to table this conversation to maybe next year, because we've already put in our request for 2022. I'd like to just leave it at that, and then consider other locations next year. That's just
Well, I think
my personal
Angela's
opinion.
right. Yeah, because they haven't even done the ones that we've already requested, right?
Right,
So-
correct.
I propose any additional lighting request be pushed till 2023 calendar year.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Is there a second?
Okay.
And we can vote on it?
Yeah, we don't need a vote on that.
All right, as long as it's reflected in the minutes.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Who knew streetlight requests could be so controversial for Summit Waller? I tell you. Okay, next on our topic, we got to cruise through these guys. Summit Waller and Waller Range Grange topic is on the agenda? Is there anything we want to talk about that relates to Waller Road Grange? Other than the fact that we've been promoting their meetings on our Facebook page, which they are greatly, they're very grateful for. They got a bunch of new members.
I finally got my welcome kit this week.
Nice.
So that was a good news. We got their, I said this last month, but you weren't there, Angela. We got their page. Actually, the original one that had the most number of people that followed it.
Yeah.
We got that actually under their control.
Nice.
And so the only thing we were talking about before was possibly seeing if one of them might be interested in becoming a member of our board.
Right.
Help us with our board, board losses here that we've had.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we have some people that, if we have some movement, whether Mark or Chris want to become regular board members and not alternates, then that leaves us a space for an alternate. Or if they want to remain alternates, that leaves us a spot for formal board member. So that's good for us to consider as we move forward.
A quick question. Do you new members have to go through their traditional, unusual and controversial initiation thing?
So
Ceremony?
they brought that up to us. Rhonda brought that up to me. She's like, they didn't announce it to the people at the meeting, which is probably a disconnect in the communications. But yeah, they do have their own ritualistic thing. I mean, it's kind of a carryover from their old days. But the fact that I got my welcome kit, I hadn't gone back since that initial thing where I said, here, take my money. I want to help you guys out as a community member. They did not hit me up again to come back for another one. They invited me, like everybody else, to come back, for future meetings, but that was it. It didn't specify anything additional that had to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, every group has their little thing, right?
All right, Dan, is there anything on Canyon Rim Estates appeal that you want to tell us about? Any updates?
The Pierce County hearing examiner decision is still pending, which is really unusual. It's been now almost 2 months, I think. I talked to the deputy prosecutor, Mr. O'Connor, yesterday morning. He doesn't know what's going on. I'm hesitant to call the new hearing examiner. That'd be an ex parte communication. I don't want to do that. So I am just continuing to wait.
Okay.
So,
all right, well, keep us updated as you hear. All right, that moves us to new business in the 18 minutes that we have left. Xfinity Alphabox damage to the 8100 block of 50th Avenue. Larry, you brought that up. You want to tell us more about that?
Yeah, it was vandalized about 3 months ago and hasn't been repaired yet. Some neighbors of mine pretty upset. Want to know if the community association could help speed up the process of repair. All I would like is permission to use the Summit Waller Community Association if by the end of May it hasn't been repaired and I make contact with somebody. Can I use the Summit Waller Community Association in my correspondence with Comcast?
Question, Larry. You're trying to get Comcast to repair a vandalized utility box that they have out there?
Yeah, I sent you a picture, Dan.
Yeah, but I mean, are any services being disconnected?
No, it's still, like I said, when I sent the picture, it's still working, but it is open to the elements and we'd like to have it repaired as soon as possible.
Is there any objection from the board that we authorize Larry to say that we've discussed this at our board meeting and that there's concern among the board members that the Comcast is taking too long to repair it?
That's a good way of putting it. Appreciate that.
It's visible from the road, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate to have a box because that just sets a precedent for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any objection?
There's dozens of utility boxes that are destroyed that are laying bare open all over this region. I don't, they've acknowledged that it is damaged. They have acknowledged that they're going to get to it. They are at a manpower restriction from COVID, just like everybody else. So you guys are free to do what you want. I'll abstain from a position.
Well, the squeaky wheel gets greased, so let's let Larry squeak.
That's fine.
Yeah, go
I
for it,
propose we
Larry.
let Larry squeak.
Go for it, Larry.
I appreciate your comments to me earlier, Don, on that. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Old Faith Dairy. Since that has come up again, it sounds like the Puyallup tribe is moving their Firecracker Alley to the Old Faith Dairy site starting in June. And according to the comments on Facebook, people are less than thrilled. Lots of fear and anxiety about not just the sales of firework. That's not necessarily the issue. It's the lighting of them, and that's more the fear that people have, is they're going to be able to light them off as they were doing down at the Port of Tacoma. So I wanted to bring it up to the board. Obviously, beyond our control, the tribe is going to tell us to pack sand if we were to approach them on it at all. But we may be hearing more about it as we get close, once it starts opening next month.
Question, comment. I talked to our council man for this area, and he had told me a month ago, Marty Campbell indicated that he had an agreement with the tribe that they would not put it at Faith Dairy, or he had learned that they would not. But you're learning now differently?
Yeah.
So basically, you're gonna have people parking up there buying fireworks and then going out in the field and shooting them off.
Well, I think that's the concern, is that people will be shooting them off there. Whether or not that's what the tribe is planning to do, I can't verify that. If I look through a lot of the comments on that particular post, Vicky Gord said, I have to see if I can find it now. It always gets lost.
Vicky Gord said that she spoke with the tribal council, and they said that it is only for the sale. They're not opening up an area for them to launch.
According to what she heard, which
Right.
is third party at
Right.
this point. So we're not sure exactly. I just wanted to keep the negative comments on Facebook to a minimum, because people were starting to get pretty ramped up. Fireworks is another contentious issue for some reason in the rural separator. But
The increase
I
in
just think
traffic was a concern.
Yeah, I think it's just something for us to keep our eye on and ears open towards. I think we're going to get some more feedback from that. I don't know that there's much that we can really do, to be honest. I saw Don's hand up first.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But then one of the other comments that got a lot of traffic was some misinformation about outdoor burning.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't comment, but I've read the rules from the county dozens of times, and there's a lot of misinformation or misconstrued information posted about what our area can do or not do regarding outdoor burning.
From my understanding, if it's a tribal sponsored event, it's up to them as a reservation to set their own rules. And if they want to stay in line with the county, that's up to them, which they have been, which is nice to know. But as far as the general population that's not in a tribally sanctioned event or a sanctioned area for activities, such as lighting fireworks, if they're not going to say, no, here, buy them and then go launch them out in the field. If they say, no, don't do that, then that still falls under the Pierce County code.
Angela?
Yeah.
Did you speak to Vicky Gord yourself?
No, this is all via Facebook. I was just reading her comments that she had posted in reaction to the initial.
And what was the comment?
I'm trying to find it now, but
paraphrase.
Just what Gabe said earlier was that she said they, meaning the tribe, was not planning to allow the discharge of fireworks, but just the sale of fireworks at the Old Faith Dairy.
She owns a sizable estate right next to this area. And she's, of course, she owns the Thunderbird restaurant.
Right.
Yeah, the discharge of fireworks would drive her crazy because her house is just right next door.
Well,
And
and
also, in regards to burning, the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency site is very helpful in wanting to know what you can and cannot do in our area. We are in a non-attainment area, and therefore there's no burning at all allowed unless you have you can have a recreational fire in a recreational sized pit.
I found the exact quote that Nikki said.
Thank you.
She said, I asked tribal council and they said no discharging. I put in because of residential and they didn't say that. She just assumed, but basically she says, I asked tribal council and they said no discharging.
Yeah, because that would really pollute that pasture. It would be ruined forever, if you know what I mean.
And a fire hazard too.
Fire hazard, and then the horses around there and all the other stuff. Everyone had a complaint, whether it was traffic, noise, garbage, burning, animals, PTSD,
Racist
all of it.
Jerks.
And then they started calling each other names and all that stuff. So did you turn off the comments, Gabe?
No, I let it go because nobody got overtly bad about it, but yeah, it was getting close.
It was getting real close.
Yeah,
it was real close.
Those people, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's two things though that when I read through the comments, because I try to read as many as I can to know when to shut it down when it gets out of hand, but also to know what people are concerned about. And I think there's a couple of like short articles or research or maybe some links that we can provide to educate the community on the difference between tribal reservation property and property that's in tribal trust. That seems to be a big question because people say, oh, well, the tribe owns it, so it's the reservation. And that's not necessarily the case. So I think maybe some education on the difference and what that means specifically, and then how that relates to Old Faith Dairy site. And then also the outdoor burning. So what's really allowed in Pierce County? I think we've shared things like that before, but I'd like to do that again as we get closer to the summer months. And then as we get closer to July, I always put the 4th of July firecracker or the fireworks regulations up as well. So I think those are a couple things that we should be putting on our Facebook page, and maybe we could do that put it on the web page too, Gabe. Maybe that might help.
It's in the list of handy links. I don't know where to put it besides that. I mean, it's just, there's information that's valuable to the community. It's about the non-emergency number, or how to get potholes dealt with. Now there's a whole new Pierce County Works thing I have to add there because that just came up today. It basically replaced all the stuff that we had put together. A nice one-stop resource.
Which let's skip ahead to. I don't know if people saw that Pierce County just rolled out their new Pierce County Works portal. So if anything from abandoned vehicles, illegal dumping, nuisance properties, wetlands, litter pickup, storm drains are clogged, retention ponds, on and on and on. It's all on one website now. Yeah, it's all on one website. So Gabe shared that on the Facebook page, which was really awesome. So we'll have to update our website to accommodate for that, because before we had gone through and listed all the different places where people could go, but now they literally go to this one page, which
Bob actually had sent me the link today. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, and apparently it came out like 4 days ago on Facebook, but they didn't post it on Twitter. He saw it on Twitter, so he sent that to me.
Yeah. So that's the new website. piercecountywa.gov/works. Super easy. One-stop code violation reporting. Or request. So that's pretty awesome. Dawn.
Yeah, I got a quick question for Larry back on the Waller Road cleanup. How big a truck and how many passes does it take to pick up all the litter bags generally?
I usually fill up my, the bed of my truck when I make a run from one end to the other.
Just one time then?
Yeah, usually right around noon.
Okay, because I'm thinking about another source that I might have, so I'll check with John later on.
Okay, good. Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah, and I try to pick up what the bags that I pick up, I try to fit in my car if they're not too gross. Sometimes they're just too nasty. I'm not putting them in my car.
Yeah, Larry
you-
helped me
you-
with one particular bag. I wasn't quite sure what the contents were, but it had been there for a while. And I was really, it was very questionable what might have been in there, but fortunately it was nothing bad.
Yeah.
Well, Angela's seen the trucks that I have available.
Yeah, you'd only need one pass with one of those, Don. So
Okay.
up and down. All right, the farm stand at 72nd Waller. We learned that their lease is not being renewed, and so the farm stand is going away. And I did not know that until Rhonda Fredrickson actually reached out to me, and she had indicated that that this was happening. So she wanted to know if we had heard anything, any plans in the works to build something there or whatnot. I know somebody bought it that lives not far from that property. I told her I'd do some research, but I didn't know if anyone else had heard anything. That's why I wanted to put it on the agenda for us to at least heads up on.
I thought this came up last year with the new owners taking over. We didn't know what they were going to do with it. So
Right.
now this is what's happening. So
Yeah.
I don't know anything new beyond that.
Yeah,
They've already demoed one building, haven't they? The old gas station.
the old one, yeah.
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 I looked at GIS today on it, and there's a group that owns almost that whole corner, and I believe they're tied with what's on 72nd to the same ownership.
What on 72nd, the horse arena? Or-
No, you go around the corner from
Willie's,
what?
Willie's Smoke Shop.
No, on the other
No,
side,
on the same corner as the fruit stand is on Waller Road, separated by the pipeline trail. Well, you come out of Waller Road and you turn west on 72nd, and I think all of that acreage is owned by the same group.
The church group. That's
No,
a church
no,
there now.
the landscapers and
Oh, okay.
the old Peterson Fryer Farm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think the church thing is part of the same ownership.
oh, okay.
So,
That would be the Vietnamese Buddhist temple.
no, it wouldn't. It doesn't go down that
The one
far.
in between there. It's right by that coffee place, the Canyon Coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I understand now.
Yeah, so I just didn't know if anyone knew of if they had heard any rumblings. I know Jen, you had once talked to the owners of that veggie stand. I didn't know if you had heard anything or.
I don't know, could the assessor treasurer's website be of some assistance?
Yeah, it says, so the current owner of the property where the little farm stand is held by SDG Holdings LLC.
And that is not the same ownership of the old Peterson Fryer Farm.
Yes, I believe it is. If it'll say their mailing address refers to the address around the corner.
Yeah,
On
3108
72nd.
72nd.
Oh, really?
And if you look into the details of that, you'll see that they're interlinked.
3108 72nd. 3108. 3108 is the delivery address for that big parcel, and 3108 is on the southeast corner-ish of 72nd, which is owned by John and Catherine Hicks.
And there's 3 or 4 brothers that are all associated as officers of it.
And they also own 3020 72nd, which is where the drive-ins, or the house right next to the Willie's Drive-In, the smoke place. Interesting.
Well, listen, it's not owned by the tribe.
No,
Yeah,
no, it's not. It's not.
I believe it's owned by an outfit that they're up north, and they have a large nursery up there, and they bring some of their nursery things down here, and they happen to own the adjacent buildings. They lease out one of them to a church there, and a coffee stand, and they picked up the property across Pipeline Road, probably pretty inexpensively, and there you go. It's a wait and see.
Yeah, I think it is. Although on December 3rd of 2021, a preliminary short plat was submitted for the parcel that the little farm is on currently, little farm stand. So it looks like they want to subdivide it
Oh,
into 5 lots.
residential?
Yeah,
That's good news.
5 lots with one lot is 2.5 acres, one is 3.6, one is 2.8, 3.09, and 2.49.
Yeah, there's about 15 acres involved there, I believe.
If you,
they'll make big home properties out of it. I'm happy about that.
if
Yeah,
you want, can I share my screen?
Yeah, you should be able to.
There you go. Here's what I'm looking at, guys.
Oh, wow. What's the circle all about? That's, oh, I see.
This is the roundabout. It's basically a punched in little roundabout here.
Angela, how far along is that project right now?
Huh. Well, that's a good question.
Well, the way the county's moving, it's pretty slow.
They sent in their short plat at the end of last year. So it looks like submittal documents, development conference approved. That's it so far. It looks like they've just submitted for the short plat.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I looked on that late last year, and it was after they bought the property. That's actually good news. That's, what's the zoning there? Rural separator, right? I believe so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Up until 24th, it should be rural separator.
It is.
It is.
It should be. I don't think it's been changed at all.
I think there was a rural neighborhood center out in the very, very corner.
Let's see. Rural neighborhood center, rural separator.
Yeah. Could you go back to that map again, please, Angela, just real quick? Right down there at the very bottom, where the old gas station is. I hope they keep that old gas station that's on the corner there. The old, that's an antique.
It's been demoed.
No, it hasn't. Not the actual gas station.
Not the, yeah.
Okay.
Let's
well,
see.
Oh, hang on a second here. See, there's a debris pile.
Yeah, that's where one building was.
Right on the very, very corner. They got that old, they used to provide gas to Model Ts in that thing.
Right here.
Yeah,
Yep. Little
yeah.
tiny one right there.
Well, this is actually pretty good news, I think. Could you go up a little?
Yeah.
So those are all residential lots, is that correct?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then the existing lot, the existing one too.
Plus this storm facilities here in the back.
Yeah.
That looks like a small ranch style home development with it looks like a keypad turnaround gate there at the beginning off of Waller Road.
Yeah.
This keypad and turnaround. So that's a gated private road. Yeah.
But it also looks like this is a separate parcel right
think
here.
there's
is
a
what
house
it
there right
looks
now.
The
like.
two in the corner and the one you're on are separate parcels.
Yeah, this one, and this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
hmm
Well, I think I'm pretty supportive of that.
I mean, at least all the lots are 2.5 acres or bigger, so
That'd
that's
be
good.
It'll be right next to the pipeline trail.
They are.
And
Yep.
the side effect is if this person here owns this property, and if he also owns a property across the street where the old Peterson Fire Farm is, he's probably going to ultimately make that compatible with the residential use somehow.
How is lot one accessed?
What's that, Larry?
How is
Lot-
lot one accessed? Off of Waller Road?
Must be, yeah, it must be right off Waller.
I don't
hmm
see a driveway or anything in there.
I don't either, but
Oh, there's a gate. There's a gate right. I see
dedicated
right
for road purposes, gas house focus.
Angela, if you
North-
ever hear anything
northeast
different
corner.
about that, could you let us know, please?
Yeah, I mean, now that I know that it's been proposed to be short platted, I'll keep my eyes open.
This is really good news. I thought it was going to go sideways.
Well, and I know that so the real estate agent that sold it or that listed it is Jerome O'Leary, and I actually have met him through work. Anyway, I remember asking him about it when I was at a different meeting. I was like, "So, what's happening with the property at 72nd and Waller?" And he said the tribe had actually expressed a lot of interest in it because, it's right in their traditional reservation boundary, but they never pulled the trigger on it. So these people did that live just around the corner. They live right here on this parcel right here.
Who lives there?
The owners of the corner property.
You're saying that, okay, who owns what now?
The owners of this parcel right here
Yeah.
live right here.
Okay, next to Smoking Willie's.
This one.
Okay. What's the name of those folks?
John and Catherine Hicks.
I think they own a church there, don't they?
I think they hold the
don't
land of
know.
the church is just south of that plot across the road or the pipeline road. Yeah.
Oh, this one? Oh, the Gospel Outreach of Tacoma. Is that the one you're talking about? Let's see.
So the Hickses here are actually doing the development. They're the ones that are proposing it.
They are.
Excellent.
So there
So
you go.
I noticed a couple gate references on the, if you went back to the map tab. Directly to the pipeline road,
Oh,
pipeline trail.
yeah.
If you zoom in a little bit, you'll see it there, south of lot 3 at the very south end of it. Shows a little
Gate, yeah.
chain link fence and gate, yeah.
Monitoring
Chain link
well,
fence.
existing building.
Gate and a chain link
blocks.
fence.
I mean, that might just be references to current things, but
Those might be existing.
yeah. But then there's the other one for the gate as well there, so I'm not sure. There's a
Mhm,
chain link fences and gates, but
mhm.
I would imagine they'd tie into that. It's a resource they probably want to take advantage of.
Yeah.
Well, it's good news, Angela. Keep us advised, will you?
Yeah, I'll keep my eyes peeled. What I'll probably do is sign up for permit alerts on that parcel as they come up, then I can let you all know. All right, we're obviously past 9:00. So the last couple of announcements that are on the list are Canyon Road widening project construction has started. If you haven't noticed, they've been removing trees along Canyon Road between 84th and 72nd. And then looks like Larry found 2 call for bids for Rhodey Creek and Clear Creek habitat restoration.
Yeah, just some quick comments, real quick.
Yeah.
There'll be a new signal light at 80th and Canyon installed.
Oh, okay.
And as far as the Rhodey Creek channel stabilization, Rhodey Creek is between Canyon Creek and Woodland Creek.
Mhm.
And It is, the bids for both of these creek things are to be open May the 6th. And the projected cost for the Rhodey Creek Channel stabilization is between 900,000 to 1.5 million. And whoever wins that bid within that range will have 70 days to complete the project. And for Clear Creek habitat restoration, access road removal, that cost is estimated between $600,000 and $900,000, and whoever wins the bid in that range will have 65 days to remove that access road.
Yeah, that Clear Creek Habitat Restoration, well, actually, both of those projects are out of the Surface Water Management Division, which is where I work in our capital improvement projects group. But the Clear Creek one is pretty exciting. That was a NERDA grant, National Resources Disaster something, natural recovery. Anyway, it's for it's basically disaster recovery money that we applied for and we got. And the Clear Creek Habitat Restoration is they're removing an existing access road that really doesn't serve any purpose down near the very mouth of Clear Creek, just upstream of the tide gate that's there right now. So it is primarily a habitat restoration project and a little bit of flood reduction. So same with Rhodey Creek. It's a little flood reduction and erosion stabilization. So, and then the next Waller Road Neighborhood Watch meeting is this Friday, and it's in person. It's the first one in I think 2 years. So, yeah, that's pretty good to see that's happening for Dawn and the Neighborhood Watch group. So, Gabe.
Okay, I'll hit this again. Maybe next month we can start talking about potentially moving ours back into in-person. We'll see how the in-person meeting goes for the community, community event we have going on in June, and see how that goes, and then use that as a discussion point to go beyond that. Right now I'm paying for this account. I don't have a need for it other than this meeting every month. So that's $15 a month that I'm just hanging out with, but so we have to determine if I'm going to keep that up and how that's going to be funded, and or we go back to live.
Well, thank you for doing that, Gabe. We really appreciate it. Otherwise, we would not have had many meetings.
I think we should probably arrange this meeting to compensate Gabe for his out-of-pocket costs.
I agree.
No, not for now. I've had a use for it up until about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And so I just don't want to bring that up so we have time to actually transition. I have no problem with that for now, but I do think we need to discuss going back to live or changing how we do this.
Yeah, Gabe,
after our annual meeting. Yeah. Okay.
Go
ahead, Larry.
I just wanted to say something when the recording stops for anyone who's still in the meeting that has to pertain to this topic.
Okay. Go ahead, Larry. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, in discussion with Bunny, I do have the key to the community center. I got that from Bob, and I also have the mailbox key, one of the mailbox keys again. And Bunny has told us that if we have an in-person meeting, we just have to do the extra job of wiping down all the surfaces that utilized in the hall at the community center.
Okay.
Before we
I think
leave.
that's a reasonable request. So again, I will not be here for the June meeting. I think Larry, you volunteered to facilitate that meeting, and you and I were going to work on an agenda.
Right.
Okay.
Are we going to have an in-person meeting in June, or are we going to stick with one more Zoom meeting?
Yeah, one more Zoom meeting for the June 7th.
I have no problem with talking about it going forward. It's just that after we have our big extravaganza in June, that's going to give us an idea how things go in person again, how comfortable we all feel with that, and whether or not we don't want to do that, or if we want to continue Zoom and what that entails going forward. So I'm fine up through June and into the first meeting of July for sure.
Okay. All right.
Cool. All right,
or
guys.
we just have 45 minutes in the meeting and then it cuts off. Your choice.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
If you
that's-
don't have a paid account, you get 40 minutes and then you're done.
Well, how long are you done? Could you take a 5-minute break and then start another meeting?
Oh, that's so much fun to deal with.
Just asking.
Yeah, yeah, you could do that, Jen.
All right, well, I'm going to call the meeting adjourned. If you guys are
Okay.
up for adjourning
Nice
at
fun
So
for everyone.
9:14 p.m.
Okay. Tell me
And
when
then-
you stop recording.
Are we adjourned?
We're
Yes,
adjourned.
we're adjourned.